laps on repeat. Running from the past, tires humming on the street. If you ain't got a clue, you can roll with the team. Scooby-Doo vibes, mystery dream. Zazu time trial, stopwatch flashing. Solving every case while the wheels keep smashing. Every second count, every mile means something. Ghosts get unmasked when the bassline's dumping. It's a late night vibe, headlights low. Fog creeping in, we don't ever move slow. Zazu on the dash, I'm racing time though. Mystery on the map, I'm unlocking codes. Scoob got the munchie, I got the drive. We don't split up, now we survive. Haunted mansion scenes, clues come alive. Every rhyme unmasking, who's been telling lies? Tick-tock, stopwatch, I'm ghosting the track. Fred said floor it, no looking back. Zazu glowing like a neon trap. Mr. Gang, forever put it down on the map. Zazu time trials, ghost laps on repeat. Learning from the past, guys coming on the street. If you ain't got a clue, you can roll with the team. Scooby-Doo vibes, mystery dream. From the fog to the finish, we reveal who's who. Zazu got me racing, Scooby got the crew. When the mask come off and the truth shine through, they all say, I'd have got away if not for you.
Zazu time trial, Scooby in the ride. Zazu time trial, Scooby in the ride. Zazu time trial, Scooby in the ride. Mystery machine on the line, let's slide.
Roll up in the van, green paint with the flowers. Scooby got the snacks, we've been grinding for hours. Shaggy in the back, yelling zoinks when it's out. Chasing ghosts down like I'm hunting superpowers. Velma got the data, Daphne got the plan. Fred behind the wheel, that's the mystery man. Fog thick, vibe slick, shadow in the sand. But I see that mask slip, yeah, I know the scam. Zazu time trials, ghost laps on repeat. Running from the past, tires humming on the street. If you ain't got a clue, you can roll with the team. Scooby-Doo vibes, mystery dream. Zazu time trial, stopwatch flashing. Solving every case while the wheels keep smashing. Every second count, every mile means something. Ghosts get unmasked when the bassline's dumping. It's a late night vibe, headlights low. Fog creeping in, we don't ever move slow. Zazu on the dash, I'm racing time though. Mystery on the map, I'm unlocking codes. Scoob got the munchie, I got the drive. We don't split up, now we survive. Haunted mansion scenes, clues come alive. Every rhyme unmasking, who's been telling lies? Tick-tock, stopwatch, I'm ghosting the track. Fred said floor it, no looking back. Zazu glowing like a neon trap. Mr. Gang, forever put it down on the map. Zazu time trials, ghost laps on repeat. Learning from the past, guys coming on the street. If you ain't got a clue, you can roll with the team. Scooby-Doo vibes, mystery dream. From the fog to the finish, we reveal who's who. Zazu got me racing, Scooby got the crew. When the mask come off and the truth shine through, they all say, I'd have got away if not for you.
Zazu time trial, Scooby in the ride. Zazu time trial, Scooby in the ride.
Hello and welcome back to Zazu Time Trials, specifically Time Lab.
What is going on?
The anticipation is killing me.
What
Happy
if we just
Wednesday.
did an entire episode in syllables like that?
Just putting emphasis on everything wrong, everything confusing.
On and everything.
Why is he emphasizing
Pretty
stuff?
much. That'd be kind of funny.
Why is he doing
I'm
that?
slightly locked in right now because I started and I'm like super far out of my circle. I gotta get in the circle.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
You're not fully in the circle, but we could get you there.
I think it started off not in the circle, but it's all through time. So if I go a little bit more towards
Yeah, if you
that way,
nope,
yeah,
nope,
yeah.
nope,
Oh, nope,
nope.
wrong way.
Wrong way,
Oh,
wrong way.
oh,
Oh, almost
oh.
a little bit more. Do a little bit more because you gonna lean forward. You know you're gonna lean forward. You know what's gonna happen. It's it's perfect. Oh my gosh.
Was that entertaining, guys? Did you like watching that at all? Just kind of straighten out and line up the way it
Making
should
them
be.
live adjustments just for you, just for you,
Yeah, just for you guys, just for you.
just for you.
Thank you guys for being here. Like Zoo had mentioned, we are Zazu. This is what we would consider our time trials, but on the third week of every month now, we are doing Time Lab. So prepare to get educated. All right. The cool part about this is we're just going to show the route that we decided to take amongst learning our DAW. But there are probably 50 different ways that everybody could accomplish about the same thing. And I think we're going to showcase that specifically today, how you can do things in more than one way. We're going to probably end up going down the rabbit hole just a little bit. It's very easy to get distracted and go off topic. There's so many things that you could learn with an Ableton or a DAW in general. In specific, me and Zoo are going to be using Ableton 12. You could probably take this information and correlate it to any other DAW. I would hope so. It's really just the fundamentals. But Zoo, do you have anything to add in before we just jump right into it?
Just a little promotion for our next week.
Next week. That's right. Next week. Next week. He caught me. Watch.
Got
I was
him.
actually testing him there. So, third week is Time Lab. The fourth week, the way that we're going to end our months out, last month we featured Trip Hazard. Next week, next Wednesday, we will be featuring the boy Lakai. Very stoked to have him as the second showcase, the second artist showcase on Time Trials with Zazu. So be sure to save the date next Wednesday, same time. It'll be 8:30 Mountain Time. I have to think because I'm not in the same time. I'm in a different time zone, so I had to think that one out very carefully. 8:30 Mountain Time. Check out Lakai next week for our end of month showcase for Zazu Time Trials.
Absolutely. And the way that works, if you haven't seen it, if you're watching in the future, as we say, it's just going to be a typical time trial. Za over there is going to kind of do some interview stuff while Lakai is making some music, and I'm going to be making music as well. So stop by next week, see what we do, because I have no idea.
We're all going to be making music, man.
We're making
Literally
music.
come in here, hang out. We're
Not a
going to be
clue.
making music. I mean, not a clue.
Not a clue right now. We're not a clue right now. Transition.
I was about to say, you beat me to it.
Transition.
You beat me to it.
If you're just joining, welcome. We're doing some time lab today. What you see is a moderately blank Ableton Live project. It's not fully blank. I've prepared some stuff just because some of the stuff that I'm going to show you takes a little bit of time to set up, as will it for you. I imagine there's some people who are just super speedy with their hotkeys and have a bunch of presets. If I'm going into a project that I'm unaware of, I'm usually taking a bit longer to figure out what sounds I want, how I'm going to be manipulating my sounds. And I felt like today it'd be a good idea for us to dive into getting some sound into our timeline. Because last time we didn't really do any of that. We didn't really have any sound whatsoever. We didn't really talk about the musicality of anything and what any of this even means related to that musicality. So I felt like breaking down some synths, some pianos, and after I briefly touch on some ways you can manipulate sound in your Ableton DAW, we're gonna pass it over to Za, and he's gonna essentially have the same project, and he's gonna go into how to implement drums and the different intricacies within drums. So, just a quick recap. I'm probably not going to cover everything. Za did a really good job of kind of overall encapsulating everything. I thought you did like a pretty phenomenal job. There's a lot of people out there who
I appreciate it. No, I think
you were on point. I honestly struggled to know what I'm supposed to talk about because I felt like our plan last time was to go over there's two different views inside of Ableton. You have this view and you have this view. This view is predominantly used for recording purposes, for producing purposes, but your live project view is exactly as it sounds. You can literally record in live, and a lot of people will use I use Ableton in a live setting where I'll have all my presets. I might even have some samples that I meld into the actual live sound of what we're producing on stage. But I feel like honestly going into the live feature might be a later thing. It's kind of hard to bounce back and forth, especially if you're just starting out, and I felt like we kind of spread ourselves a bit thin in terms of you encapsulated this view very well, and I'm like, I don't even know how to top that. So a quick recap.
No, I think you did good on your section. I just think the live section that you're talking about is a very niche section.
It's for a specific purpose. It's for a live setting. It's for a
specific, and it's crazy because you started off on the live section essentially.
That's why I got Ableton.
And worked your way into the production setting, which is where we're kind of predominantly working now. So it was crazy to see him working on a side of Ableton that I've never even touched. I'm like, wow, okay, like I've seen this, but like I don't use it. I've never been over here. And he's over here just doing what I saw as, I'd never seen it. It was cool. So it was cool to see learn and hear how he's using a different side of Ableton.
It's definitely interesting getting used to using the different effects. And if I'm thinking about a production, hey, there's Lakai. There's the boy who's going to be here next week. Welcome to the stream, brother. Welcome to the stream. We're excited to have you next week. I'm pumped to see what you're going to do. What is he going to pull out of the hat? What is he going to pull out of the magic bag? Because we're going head to head, and we're going to see who wins this challenge that we absolutely take super seriously, and someone always wins every single time. But
everybody wins.
Everybody wins. Okay. So a quick recap on what Za went through last time. This is your navigation pane, and you can see your timeline right here. Essentially, if you have any musical background, these are like your measures. You can change the amount of beats inside of a measure over here where it says 4/4, and if I were to change that right here, I could literally go, I want to go in 3/4 time. Now there's only 1, 2, 3 beats. You see 1, 1.2, 1.3, and then it keeps going. You could change it to 7/8. You could change it to whatever you want. But typically, I live in 4/4, especially when I'm putting ideas down. Typically, if I have a section of, like my band, we have a bunch of 7 times parts of our songs, but we typically don't play in just 7/8 time. If that just sounds like nonsense to you, disregard, because we're going to be in 4/4. It's as with most songs, especially in America.
And I think this is I have this project, and I'm going to be elaborating off of it. I was actually really excited that you chose 120 because that gives me a great avenue of being able to showcase 4 on the floor, a 120 beat, but also halftime. That's still. It's going to be cool. I'm excited.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. So going through these buttons, as he was saying, we're in 120 beats per minute. And what that means, when we could change our beats per minute, we could even listen to it. So we have our metronome on. So that's 120 beats per minute. 120 of those in a single minute. So if I want to go up to 100...
What was that again?
120 in a minute. You can go up to 160. I've never had something in 1,000 BPM. And what's cool with Ableton, you can change the preset, but the base BPM for Ableton is 120, and a cool little quick click is double clicking on this 120. If I'm all the way in 172 and I want to go back to 120, I can double click that. I was just talking about the metronome. I know that I've never seen Za use the metronome other than to track in other samples. Maybe I use it pretty religiously when I'm getting getting vocals. If you've seen our past streams, if I'm recording my vocals in, I want to hear that metronome in, because sometimes there's those gaps in the song and I can't just hear the beats. I can't just feel the beats within my body. So if I'm recording into something, I want to hear. And what's cool with this preset, you can actually, what I have set up on my side, so I have a count in. If I want to have my vocals coming in, I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit. If I wanted my vocals to come in on this part right here, but I wanted to count into this part, so I'm preparing myself and I'm hearing what's coming before, I will hit this options and settings. I'm gonna go down to this. There's a bunch of different presets here. We're not going to go through everything today, but record, warp, and launch. And it might be a little bit different. I know Ableton 11, I think they called it something different. But this one right here, we're going to look for count in. And you can change it. I could have 2 bars of count in before. So these measures, bars are just measures. You could have 4 bars. So if I usually keep it on 1 bar because I usually don't need to hear too far before, but let's just see what here 2 bars sounds like. If I wanted to record in, it's gonna count 8 counts, and then I'm gonna come in. 1, 2, 3, la. So, just a quick demonstration. Let me just delete this. So, when we were first building our project with Za last time, a big no-no is to just start throwing stuff in your project, not knowing where it's coming from, not knowing where your project is saving. The first thing you want to do is save your project to somewhere that you know. Click Save Live Set As, create a separate folder for it, because sometimes if you just save it to your download folder, or if you just save it to your desktop, there's just files sometimes dispersed between that file. So you'll look at your desktop and it's just going to be cluttered. So create a designated folder for this project. This project folder is called Time Trial Season 2 Episode 7. So we know what it is, and when we put it in our drive folder, we can actually understand what it is. I know it sounds like a simple thing, but the amount of untitled projects between Za and I is probably over 1,000 between our short careers as musicians.
The amount of lost music that we have. Dude.
I'm sure there's some banger songs that I really wanted to continue, and they're just lost in time because I'm like, oh, that's Untitled. Untitled 7. I don't care about Untitled 7.
Or it's a date. You know, I used to do dates. I'm like, okay, this is
like we're gonna
10,
remember.
24,
dude, I'm gonna remember this feeling from this day.
That's the one with the.
Remember.
I can remember them sometimes.
Yeah.
If it's like that week, anything past that, I'm like, yeah, I don't know what this is.
And you've used SoundCloud as like your undesignated, like unofficial, like drive box, which I've never. I guess I'm sure a lot of musicians do that. Honestly, you just have like hundreds of privated songs that are just like, we were just going through some before the stream. Honestly,
a lot of the reason for that is I like to upload the song so that I can listen to it on AirPods and in a car and maybe like on a set of speakers, like so I can take the song out of my studio and play it elsewhere.
See, that's just me with Drive.
That's typically why I have that. That's why I have it on SoundCloud. It's easy access for me. It's uploaded to the cloud, so the compression is just about what I'm going to hear on the rest of the platforms. It gives me a good opportunity to hear my music outside of the studio, and it's a good like little safe vault. I mean, like just before this, we were listening to a lost track from 5 years ago. I mean, I think it's gone. It's on 3 computers ago. But it's still on SoundCloud. It's still on SoundCloud.
See, I like to have my, like if I'm listening to something, that's why I use Drive. I'll download it into my files on my phone, and then I'll just have, like I could download it from anywhere to my phone, to my computers, but then also all the stems for the songs are just in the same folder. So if I'm like, okay, what was this song? This song's called that, and then I look for that same titled folder. Because otherwise I'm like, I I don't know where this folder. Could we find the song that you were talking about from 5 years ago? Maybe, possibly, maybe. Go diving back in some quick little buttons to be aware of on here. There's so many things going on here. You have your play button, you have your stop button, you have your record button. Obviously, we're not going to go into super depth about this. There's plenty of people. We might cover. We might have a button day. We could go through. We could have a button day maybe. There's some buttons
that you need to worry about are those.
Those are the main ones that you're going to be dealing with. I'm actually going to change my settings back to having 1 bar of count-in of the metronome. You can turn your metronome on and off by clicking this. When it's illuminated, it's obviously on. And you can actually change the count-in right here. That might be a new setting that I became aware of. You can turn it off right there. Another cool thing, like if I was super zoomed into my project and I wanted to zoom out pretty quickly, there's an H and W button. I think in Ableton 11 it was up here, but in Ableton 12 it's down here. We thought they took them away. I couldn't find them for like a day. I was like, oh my God, they just moved them to the bottom. How dare they change my UI? How dare they? So if you click H, mine's already squished in all the way, but if I had a bunch of tracks, it would squish it to where I could see as many tracks as the user interface would allow me. If I click W though, it'll now zoom out to the exact length of all of my tracks. The unfortunate part is if I had a bunch of tracks out here, it would zoom out all the way out here. So it'll zoom out to let you see the extent of all the content you have in your project. Some other pretty general knowledge. I have a little hotkey pad that I use. I try to keep it charged. I sometimes forget, but having hotkeys inside of Ableton is so nice. What I have this little wheel, and I have it programmed to be plus and minus. So a hotkey inside of Ableton, if you hit plus, it will zoom in. And if you hit the minus button, it'll zoom out. And I think that's it'll if I target right here in the song, if I just click anywhere on these tracks, it'll zoom in to that point. So if I want to zoom over here, it'll zoom over there. So if you're clicked over here and you're trying to zoom in over here, you are not going to zoom in over there. Another awesome hotkey to have, or just to have know. I'm pretty sure everyone's very aware of this hotkey. Control Z. Undo.
Baby.
The amount of times that you click undo inside of this stuff is pretty big. So I just have my undo as one button, so I don't even have to go to my keyboard. I also have redo, so if I accidentally undid something that I wanted to hear back, I have that hotkey as well. I also have a right and a left button, so I can kind of quickly go from side to side. I also have the save button, Control S. So I can just click that and it saves, because I forget to save my projects until the very end. And if you watch season 1, there was a time where I lost an entire project for a couple of days before I was able to rebuild it. So save your projects. So the main things that we just talked about: create a project, save your project, and this next part of organization is also extremely important. We're creating groups of tracks. We're not going to have any drums on this side, but when we get over to Za later, we're going to be adding some drums. For this, I have some bass. I also don't have any bass in the song, but the tracking groups that we talked about last time, the grouping tracks, I guess that sounds fine too.
The grouping track.
Have some synths right here. If I wanted to add vocals, so I'm going to add by right-clicking and left-clicking. I can add as many as I want. I can also cut them, delete them. And so if I had 2 tracks right here that I wanted to put into a group, I right-click on this, I go down to Group Tracks or Control-G, and I can drag all these into this. I can name this Vocals, and I can name this Melody, and I can name this Harmony. So I just deleted it by accident. Harmony low, and then harmony high. That's what I would do. Ba-da-ba-bum. Awesome. And the way to engage these tracks, so there's two different ways to kind of interact with these tracks. You have MIDI tracks and you have audio tracks. Audio tracks are your traditional tracks. I guess I can't really say that. MIDI and USB and XLR and all these different things that have connected sound into digital interfaces have been around for just about as long as each other. MIDI's been around for a long time. But audio tracks, this is a typical audio track. This is what's going to be letting me hear my voice. If I have this set to auto, I'll be able to hear my voice. This is how I'm monitoring my vocals. If I turn it off, I can't hear my vocals back as I'm recording it. Some people like to not hear their vocals as they're recording in, just so they can hear a dry track and then add whatever effects later. I like to hear how my vocals are interacting with it. It's very intense to get used to from what I remember, because even now I can hear the latency. It's like a maybe 100 millisecond latency, but our ears pick up on such small intricacies.
It's enough to throw you a little bit.
It is. What's cool about that, though, is you can go over here into your options and your settings. If I go over to audio, I have mine turned exactly where it needs to be, but when I'm hooked into my audio device, I'm hooked into a soundboard right now, but I can change the latency of, it says driver error compensation. What's cool about that, it says overall latency is 76 milliseconds. If I wanted to bring that latency down, I can try to get this to say 0. And it honestly, for me, whether you can tell or not, let's get perfect. See, that sounds so much better to me. So we were almost spot on. It was almost 100 milliseconds of delay in my ears that I was hearing. And when you're recording into something, if you're not used to that, you're probably going to be off. You're probably going to be extremely off. I'm going to turn this up because I'm sick of hearing my voice in my head. I can hear my voice now, but it's like doubled up. So that's your typical audio track. That's if I had, and that's it's coming from this mic right here. Just a typical XLR. I have a nice booster, in the back. I jiggled it. I jiggled it too much. So if I wanted to record a guitar or a piano, like a live studio session, I use the audio tracks quite a lot. What we typically do when you're watching a Zazu live stream is like implementing MIDI. And what MIDI is, I mean, honestly, there's probably a very general, broad spectrum description of what MIDI is, but essentially it is audio data. It is digital audio data. That's the best way I can explain it. A lot of times it is an input being given an output sound.
MIDI stands for musical instrument digital interface.
Yep. So like this right here, this is a MIDI keyboard. If I were to try to play this without plugging it in, it would actually do nothing. There's no sounds on it. There's no speakers on it. What I have to do is I plug this in either through USB or MIDI. MIDI and USB are actually very similar. They're almost identical. MIDI just sends different data. It just sends quite different data. Anymore, USB-C can probably send more data than some MIDI drivers, but sometimes MIDI will have a bunch of different connectors that do different things. But if you actually look over here, you can actually see that my keyboard is indeed hooked up. You can see this input. And what that's telling me, if I hit my keypad just softly, that means that my velocity was really, really soft. If I hit it really hard, you see it peak up there. And so what MIDI can do is it can track velocity, it can track sound, and you can map specific sounds and specific functions to the keyboard. So I can make this keyboard do quite unlimited things that I want it to do. If I were to throw, I'm actually just going to come over here to my synths. Don't focus on this. We're going to get to this in just a second. But if I am coming over here and I want to hear a sound come out of what my MIDI controller is trying to do, if I'm playing a C major chord, it'd probably be better if I play something that can actually play chords. So there's a C major chord. And what you notice now that I have an actual sound hooked up to it, and that's just a preset over here from Ableton called the Vintage Saw Keys. Ableton has so many presets. We go outside of the Ableton presets quite a lot, but you honestly don't need to. They've developed so many sounds, and on their website they have bunch of free resources. What were you saying, Zach?
When I was changing from my first project to my current project, I took like a year off, and then when I started making music for my new project, I upgraded everything and I only used Ableton stock devices for the first year.
Yeah,
I didn't have any plugins. I used solely what Ableton gave me for my first year, like my first year's work that I put out. And then after the first year, I'm like, okay, so like I can utilize Ableton. Now let's like get some plugins. So I started getting plugins and all sorts of, Ableton is so extensive. If you can learn Ableton, then treat yourself to, plugins, but not to say you shouldn't get them.
it's kind of like buying
They're super
guitar
beneficial.
guitar
They're a ton of
pedals.
fun.
If you don't know what you're gonna buy, Ableton has everything you could possibly need, and then when you start fine tuning, you're like, I wish they had this. That somebody is probably creating it out there, or if you have the motivation, you could probably create it yourself. There's so many tools out there to create your own sounds. Honestly, it's pretty wild. It's pretty freaking wild. So for
It
example,
is pretty wild. Can I intervene something real quick with the groups that you were talking
yeah,
about?
what's up?
Can you open up that bottom vocal group?
Mm-hmm.
So with that bottom vocal group, are those all different colors?
They are all different colors.
It does. So if you click on the group itself, if you right click on it, you can go down there and select a color for the group. So select like green or something. Okay, so that highlights the group green. And then what you just did is right click it again. And then at the very bottom, is that assigned to all tracks?
Boop. So you don't have to individually assign
And
them.
so it's going to cut exactly. It's
Same
super
thing with this one.
convenient.
I'm up
Keep
to
your
my synth. They're all
group.
different
It goes
colors.
back into
Boop.
it goes back into organization. It's just like I think it's a visual pleasure to color code your groups, and that's a really easy way that I wanted to shoot in. As I saw you
Absolutely.
organizing it, I'm like, okay, color code,
Absolutely.
right there, boom,
Boom.
button.
Boom.
You want to know what I think about you? Ready. Oh yeah.
For
Yeah.
example,
Somebody clip that.
put it in the Discord sounds now. Same. Ableton plugins are the way at first. Don't buy plugins unless it's something you think would. And that's honestly the route that I went. Like my guitarist in my band, he loves he just collects guitars at this point. He's extremely good at guitar, but he has fine tuned exactly what's like analog sounds he wants. I'm not gonna even guess how many pedals he has, nor how much money he spent on his pedals. I mean, tens of thousands of dollars on just like random pedals that he thinks sound cool. He'll show me 2 chorus pedals, and he'll be like, "Dude, can you see that difference?" I'm like, not really. He has an extremely fine-tuned ear for exactly the sound that he wants, and he knows how to implement those sounds. What I love with Ableton is that even with my guitar, if I have my audio box and I have my soundboard and I am hooked up into my computer, I grab my VSTs, it's essentially a MIDI pack for guitar sounds. I can hook my guitar into Ableton, and just like we were talking about with that live feature, I can be playing live guitar sounds that I can honestly map out. I can meld into stuff with tempo changes. I could even have a backing track that my guitar changes with through time. And I don't even have to, I can just preset everything. I can preset everything in here. I could just press play and my guitar is just playing over something. And it's such a cool thing that Ableton has developed, being able to kind of mix and match kind of how you want to. Because I could play with my pedals into Ableton, but the amount of pedals that they have that are digital, it has saved me so much money, and it also has given me the chance to fine tune the sound that I want without having to be like, okay, here's $1,000 for a couple of pedals. Now I gotta buy a pedal board. Now I gotta carry more stuff. Now I just carry my computer, hopefully a backup computer if I can afford it, and then my audio box. I plug my guitar, my vocals, my keyboard, everything into Ableton, and now Ableton has all of my stuff.
It does it all.
It does it all. It does it all. Analog is nice because you can count on the sound that you're looking for. Sometimes digital, just like everyone's dealt with that. When your internet's not working, when your computer stops working for whatever reason, you could be a savant at figuring that stuff out. But if you don't know, then you're kind of shit out of luck. Like there's not much to do when the technology is not working. And if nobody knows how to fix it, good luck. Good luck. For an example of how easy it is to use the Ableton like search settings, over here is kind of your search bar of all of these different folders. You have sounds, drums, instruments, audio effects, MIDI effects, modulators. There is so many things that we could go through. I typically find myself inside of plugins. This is like outside plugins that I've downloaded and input into Ableton. We use these a lot. We use Arcade a lot. This is where Arcade lives. This is where Serum lives. You'll probably hear more of Serum as the season 2 continues. We just both got Serum 2, and it's fun. It's super fun. But the Ableton instruments, if I just click on this all, it'll search over everything that they have. But if I wanted to just have a basic piano, I just type in piano, and you can kind of sort through these sounds right here. I'm just down arrow keying. Oh, that's cool. That's kind of nice. That just sounds like a sample. That is just a sample. Okay, we're gonna go to instruments and we're gonna look at piano. So we're not getting all these samples. Oh, that's fun. So if I literally click on this and I drag and drop it over to this track, literally anywhere in this line or on here, and then I have my piano hooked up. I've used this piano before.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about. Dude, this was a while ago. Oh, I love this one. What do you called? What do you called? The piano C major 7 chord. Okay, all right. I can't remember what song I used it with. It's on my second album that I haven't came out with yet. God, so funky fresh, but it's so easy to use, and they just have so many things. This is just me typing in piano. This is how many different piano sounds they have on just the base level. You could probably download a lot more packs from them. They have so many packs. So
many things.
Let me actually get into the meat and potatoes of why we're here today. So I really wanted
The meat and potatoes.
to look at the new features that Ableton has implemented for how you can construct sounds. The way that I've always constructed sound, I love the live implementation of things. I love playing the sound. It makes me feel like I am interacting with the music, and that does have its limits though, and I'm going to show you why that has its limits. And I love this new feature because it's also forcing me to look at music in a different way. I've definitely gotten more used to how Ableton proposes people, how a lot of producers use music. Honestly, how Za will play music. He doesn't have a keyboard in front of him, but when I want to put something on the piano roll, as it's called, if I literally drag, if I wanted to, what does this sound? Let's listen to this up. So this is my vintage saw keys. If I wanted to add some more notes on my song piano roll, I would literally just, this is about 4 bars. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 bars being 4 measures. And then I'll right click on this and I'm going to say insert empty MIDI clip. And what you can see right here is this is actually just a piano, but it's sideways. So you have C, C sharp, D, D sharp.
It's a guitar.
Yeah.
Kind of.
An inverted piano.
Not
yes.
at all.
Yes. Not at all. Not at all. I was gonna try to agree with you, and I'm like, no.
No, you're wrong. No, can't get that one.
You're close, man. You're close. But if I wanted to do a C major chord, it'll actually light up where my fingers are on my piano. I love that. If I'm playing a chord that I've never, if I'm just playing something that I've never played before, And I'm like, whoa, what chord is that? And how do I remember this? I can literally either record in. What I could do is I could go, it's going to count 4 and then it's going to come in. And again, if I wanted to hear how many beats I'm actually playing the note, I'm just going to, you know what? Control Z. I have my hotkey. Let's use my hotkey. So that's not the same note, but we're going to go with it. If I wanted to turn my metronome back on so I can hear how many beats I'm playing for, I'm going to hit that. That's my metronome on button. I'm going to hit record. So that should be just about 8 counts. What's cool about how your piano roll works, if I double click on this, it opens up the piano roll. And what I can do is I can see where my notes lie. It looks like if I zoom in here, I'm not really on the first beat of the note. So I can actually drag these all over individually, or I can actually drag them all together. I can select them all, and I can drag them all over. I can drag that, make sure it's actually on the beat. And if I only wanted to be for 2 measures, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. Looks like I'm a bit over here. Looks like I'm a bit over right there. Maybe a bit over right here. And then if I go back up here, I can shrink my measure down. My actual timeline measure. So then I can hear that back. What's cool about the piano roll and how Za uses it a lot is, so let me see what I was playing. It's not the same chord, but you can literally double click on the piano roll and you can extend it out for as long as you want. So if I just wanted it the same amount that I had before, these are not the same chord at all. But I'm using this as a reference so I know where my notes are. And I hit it, I'll go right there. And there's definitely faster ways to do this. You can duplicate stuff, but this is the most simple way you can do it. And I can hear that back by pressing space. Now, you know that? Those might sound good together. It's definitely something. It's definitely something.
It's definitely, you're cooking. He's cooking.
Oh, he's cooking. He's cooking. So those are kind of the 2 different ways you can input sounds into Ableton. I do have something prepared because this is kind of a new feature for me, but it's something that made sense to me, and I was super excited to share with you guys. If I can actually close. Did I just...
No, he didn't.
Good thing the whole project saved is in
No,
there. That's why we
he
save our
didn't.
projects, folks.
Did that really just happen?
That really happened live. There's your lesson, everybody. The only things that I missed out on. Oh, did it actually save? It saved all those. Look at that. So I did click save. So we haven't, this is actually perfect. I was going to delete those anyway. So the thing that I want to show you guys are the new features related to the way we can manipulate sound through the note itself, which is such a, I don't know if I've seen a feature like this anywhere else, but if I have, this is just kind of my bass sound that I produced earlier today. What's cool about what you just heard is, so here's me playing the notes right here in comparison to what you just heard. So if you can hear the difference, but you're not quite sure what the difference is, when I'm playing these notes right here, we can look at the piano roll down here. I'm holding the notes out. I'm using a pedal, so it's holding the notes out. I'm able to transition. So I played a note. I'm holding my pedal. I play the second note. I'm holding my pedal, or I release my pedal. I hold my pedal again, just like you're playing a normal piano. But with this, you get a certain level of pressure and velocity. So when you have it played back, So what if I didn't want those that pressure and that velocity in between notes? What if I wanted the notes to slide into each other? A typical way that you could possibly do that, if you had a good modulator wheel, which I do have a modulator wheel. Let me. So this is just a C minor chord. And what I could do, I do have a mod wheel, and it literally is just a wheel. But to perfectly get that slide every single time, if I wanted to slide down to the next note, if I wanted to go... And what you'll notice, if I'm playing the next set of chords, I'm still getting that pressure and velocity. I could be perfect on getting those slides into the next note, but I'm still getting me playing those notes into the next sequence. And what's cool about this new feature is when you listen back to this, you're not going to hear that pressure and velocity, and I'll show you why. Got such a cool feature. So if I click on my MIDI track right here, and I actually, this piano roll has a lot of settings in it, but today we're going to focus on MPE. And I've already done the modulations that I want. Something that they have in this bottom corner of the piano roll, it's slide. Just as you're hearing, it's allowing me to slide. So what all that I did is I played that C minor chord for 4 measures. So four measures of 4. And with that, I kind of timed out. You'll see these little blue lines. And I figured out where these notes were. So you'll see this top note went from here to here. So I'm making this blue line go from here to here. And then I'm making it go all the way down to here. And I did that with all of these notes transferring from note to note in the chord. All I did initially was play the chord, or I drew out the chord like I showed you before. And what's cool with this is when you play it back, you'll see that you can time the slides. I can move the slides around. I can even randomize the slides, which is crazy.
Yeah, MPE is so crazy.
It's insane. And the thing that I'm dealing with right now, so you'll notice that when it goes back into the next measure, it'll still have that same pressure and velocity. The way that I would probably deal with that issue is just extend the note out for as long as you want it. If I needed it for 24 measures, I would just duplicate that for 24 measures, so I'm not getting this giant punch in the middle of my song when I don't need a punch.
Yeah.
And so just as an example, I'll show you guys. I can actually target this right here. If I wanted to bring this over and I wanted it to start sliding right away. Let's get this to be right on. And what's so cool with this MPE function is you can literally slide between all of the micro notes essentially. And typically every note, so there's 12 notes in a scale, if you don't know music theory, but in between each of those notes, there is 50 cents on either side. So you essentially have 100 notes in between each note. The only reason we have a 12 note scale is because it was the easiest to kind of put into a nice little package and give to everybody. Because pianos be expensive. Nowadays we have digital stuff, so you can actually have pianos that have kind of unlimited notes in a certain sense. A person to look into who does that is Jacob Collier. I've been actually referencing him a lot lately. I referenced him last week. But yeah. I'm going to play this right here and see what that sounds like with the slide coming at the beginning. See, I liked it where it was before, but just as an example, I'm going to Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. And I see that all of those are back. Cool. So I'm going to minimize this. So we have a couple of different sounds in here. This is my bass sound that I have. A lot of stuff going on there, but not really on my side. There's a couple of different effects that I have. Essentially, I did the same thing, is I mapped it out with the actual chords. This is what it sounded like when I was just playing the actual notes themselves. What's nice about this specific synth is that it has a natural slide feature. You can't play a chord with it, but when you switch between notes, it's going to slide from the note that you're on down to the note or up to the note that you play next. So that's kind of a nice feature. There's a lot of synths that do have that feature, but I wanted to see what difference it would make if I actually mapped it out the same way that we just talked about, where I found the notes that I wanted to play. I literally just mapped it out with this line. And I can, what's cool about this is I can change the slide whenever I want. If I'm like, oh, I kind of want it to start a little bit before, I want it to end after, when I put it before. Now I have that ability instead of having to play it back and having to kind of guess where I was doing that modulation work. Now I can just see where that modulation work is, and I can send it to people. They can be like, I think it's better if we move it 2 points to the left. It's like that's a thing that has never been a thing. It's like, you could have probably no one's having the conversation of you could have mod wheeled like a little bit sooner when we're doing a live show, but now you kind of can, which is really really cool.
Yeah, no, that MPE feature is
It's so cool. It's so cool.
Something cool to mess around with.
Absolutely. So as I feel like I covered the general idea of just a couple of things that you can kind of do. Honestly, these first couple of parts is just kind of showing you how many different tools you have at your disposal that are really not that hard to use. It's pretty daunting when you first, I was going to say log into Ableton. When you first get Ableton, it's genuinely the best comparison I have is like getting a video game with 1,000 controls and there's 10 ways to do the same thing. It really absolutely is.
Yeah.
And just like Za and I were saying at the beginning, he predominantly worked in this version of Ableton, and just on the other side of this button, there's a whole different way to use Ableton that we'll get into in a later episode. But I do have some other sounds that I added in here. You have that bass, and when we had that bass, and let's just mute that really quick. And added some zest for the flavor. And this is just a sample from Arcade, just like we've been using. Arcade is extremely easy to use for beginners, and it honestly can generate so many ideas. Super, super fun. Also, to get those bend in between chords in your piano roll, you could use glissando as well, if I'm right. It's fun to use for respaces or any chords you were waiting to use that effect. Dude, yeah, no, I'm so excited to implement some of this stuff live. I'm curious how the MPE, I'm very interested in the MPE with live setting stuff, if you can actually do something like that, because Anomaly is a great example of somebody who really, really understands Ableton. The dude will make, he has to have a powerhouse of a PC, but on his live show, he will have his entire live set essentially set up. So all of his instruments are already preset time-wise in between the whole like hour-long Ableton project. So he doesn't have to switch his effects. He doesn't have to switch his presets. His band members are all linked up to the same thing. So he just presets everything ahead of time. And I'm so curious if you can use this MPE.
It's a crazy amount of work that you've got to put into that.
And that's where you start getting into like bands like STS9. STS9 is also a crazy example of people who've actually just created new MIDI functionalities inside of software that nobody even physically can get. It's stuff that they've created themselves, where like the bassist will be playing specific bass notes in a specific way, she'll have such velocity control on her bass that it'll change presets on her bass with the way that she's hitting it. I'm like, that's just dope. That's just crazy. Like when you're playing your bass and you know how to play it in a specific way, especially in a live setting, there's always so much energy going on, especially an STS9 show. Like that's a crazy show, and she specifically has to play a note in a way to make a switch happen. That's insane. And and what I struggle with STS9 is also they're like a whole nother level, because they'll have their entire project preset ahead of time, but they'll also have specific like repeat moments where if somebody wants to take like a jam session, they'll have a specific moment where it can loop back to, and it'll already be set up to loop back to that point however long they want it to go, and then they can meld it into other parts of their song. I'm like, that is implementing locators perfectly. That's implementing time signature changes. That's implementing so many things all at once. But you can do that all in Ableton.
Amount of back end work, yeah.
Oh, dude! But if you get it, and that's where I've always struggled, getting my band to get out of the jam space a little bit and have. Not that we aren't structured. We have songs that are extremely structured, but if we want to take a jam, it's hard to know when it's going to be and how it's going to be. It's a lot of discussion of like, okay, there's going to be a jam here, maybe, but providing enough opportunities to jam so it doesn't feel like, okay, here's the jam time. It's like you gotta implement the jam time in a way to where it doesn't feel so methodical. STS9 does a great job. I would never guess when they're about to take a solo or if it's just part of the song. Not a clue. Not a damn clue. But
you never know.
You never know. But here's the little spice added onto it. I'm honestly really liking this. I feel like this is going to turn into something. It's going to turn into something. And with that, please, while we're about, I would say, halfway through, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I know it is
Like, comment, subscribe.
Like, comment, subscribe. As everyone says, it does help, and it honestly it motivates us. It also does help the channel in the long run. So we do appreciate it.
Does.
We do appreciate it. And if you do want to find more places where there's plenty of people explaining Ableton, plenty of people explaining music and digital audio workspaces. We hope we provide an environment where you can ask us questions, and maybe we can search down the rabbit hole questions that you have. If you are looking for somebody who has so many videos on Ableton right now, just to promote a dude who I've been following a while. If anyone knows the band Papadosio, one of the lead members has a channel called Seed to Stage, and he honestly, when I was first getting into Ableton, he's been doing it for a long time. I honestly found him, and I didn't realize he was actually a part of a band that I had already followed. I'm like, oh, dude, he's just good at explaining things. So if you have specific questions, I'm sure he's already covered it. He offers a course, but most of his videos are just free on YouTube. So give him a listen and check him out. Also, check out Papadosio if you haven't before. I'm going to transition over to the Zaw over there. So same project for the most part, and I believe Zaw today is going to focus on drums. He definitely has a bit more experience than me in understanding the intricacies of adding the base level of what a drum fill and drum line should sound like, at least from the fundamental point of view. So take it away, Zaw.
And that's subjective. I agree, but it's subjective. Like I enjoy writing drums. I have a lot of fun writing drums. A lot of it typically leans towards hip hop inspiration, and I think that's where it's subjective is the fact that I think a lot of my stuff does go towards hip hop inspiration. But we're gonna go through a couple cool things today, and yeah,
Yeah. Totes.
I almost wanted to see how long I could do an awkward silence there, but
I ruined it.
I don't think I'm really in it for that. So we have, where's my mouse?
Meow.
No, okay, there we go. Okay, all right. So we have this project.
I agree,
Let me
Lakai.
make sure it's all set up. So we've got one purple, one pink, and then this. What do we got? Holy cow, it's what he just played. Wow.
Would you look at that?
All right, so the reason I was talking about the fact that I liked it being at 120 is because I would consider 120 to be probably the range of which house music is made and produced. So, what I'm going to do, it looks like he's already made me a drums category up here. If I open that up, there's just a MIDI in there. So I'm going to do both MIDI and audio. I think I'm going to start with MIDI, and then I'll show you how we can do this in audio. It's very similar. I started on audio, and that's as simple as dragging the individual tracks over. I'll show you that. But then there's MIDI, and this is, in my opinion, a much more streamlined way of getting the percussion the way that I want it to. So
Percussion.
we go over to the search bar. This is personally how I search for everything that I want. I usually don't go down to these libraries very often and go through the categories. I'm almost always going to the search bar because I know what I'm going for. I'm going to look for a drum rack is what it is called. I do believe. A drum rack. So he's got a MIDI channel for me. I'm going to double click the drum rack and load it on where he left that MIDI track right here in the drum category. The drum rack is down here at the left. It looks like there's a lot going on. All I know is I can click through these different square sections. I'm going to leave it right where it was.
Hey, if you
And I
want
can see
to,
here that there's
if you want to open
Oh, I
up the
can't
little
yet.
information bar, just click the little eye in the bottom, and it might push the drum rack over a little bit more. We can almost see it. Your screen is so big.
my face is in the way.
I could try to move your face, but I don't want to mess everything up.
No, I think it'll be all right. If you open up a drum rack, I promise you it's going to be a 4x4 pad is what it's going to look like essentially. And you're going to see C1, C sharp, D1, D sharp. And what that means is if I insert a piano roll, which what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight this section right here. And my hotkey is Shift Command. Boom.
Shift
You can
Command
also
what?
right click and say Shift Command M on Mac. You can also right click and say, I'm new to Ableton, insert empty MIDI clip. That's what Zoo did. It does the same thing. But now we have this. We drag this up. If I search kick, that's a kick. I'm going to drag it. Ooh, let me see here. Double click. Let's get this drum rack back. I'm going to just drag a kick in here.
Drum rack back.
And so now I see that if I click, now I've placed a kick and it's on my piano roll. Okay, so now we know that I can load a sample into this drum rack. I can load another one into the next section. And another, whoa. And another one. And if I open this back up, now I have all these different kicks. So the reason I love writing my drums in MIDI is because I can easily change them for the vibe of the track. So if I select all these kicks that I've written in, I can push the up arrow on my control pad on the computer. And I can change the kick. So here's where we get crafty. If I go down to my personal user library and I go to Reason and I go to drums, I've made racks. I've opened a drum rack and I've put all of my favorite kicks and all of my favorite snares, and I've saved them. So if I put this OG kick right here, look how many kicks I have to pick from. So once I have my pattern laid down, I can easily change my sample without having to go through and do it in audio, which I'll show you later. So what I'm routinely doing, what I'm doing on routine is I'm having a kick and a snare track. I'm going to open up a new MIDI track by right-clicking and inserting a new MIDI track. I'm going to drag and use my handy-dandy hotkey. Boom! Zoo was talking about the metronome up here. When I get my kick and snare going, I'd love to have the metronome. I'm going to enable that right there. And I'm going to click on the drums category, the drums group, and solo just the drums. Boom. I want to do a housey beat, so we're just going to do... We're going to do 4 on the floor. You know what I'm saying?
4 on the floor.
All right. Go ahead and loop this. So you're going to see that the little sidetrack here. You're going to see this bar up here. You can move it around. You can lengthen it. You can shorten it. You can do whatever you want with it. I consider that to be my loop bar. Well, let's call it the loop bar. It's probably got something else, but yeah, look at that. Loop punch recording region. Look at that. That's what it is. Down on the left. That's what it is. There's a button right here that looks like a loop. If you click it, it's going to loop that section. We're looping. We're looping right now. Once again, I'm going to go ahead and drag in my snare rack. This is all snares that I get to choose from because I put all of my favorite snares right here. If you click the little headphone icon right here, you can hear it as you click it in. Wow.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Da, da, da.
Command D, Command D. Wow.
Duplicate,
That means duplicate. That makes everything super nice. Just do it. I promise you, just do it. Oh, I messed up. Look at that, I messed up. I messed up. Delete. Duplicate.
Za in the loop for 5 minutes.
Pretty much. Okay, so we've got like a good kick and snare pattern. You know, I mean, this is house music. I've got my kick, I've got my snare. That's written in MIDI. One other thing that I'll sometimes do in MIDI is my hi-hats. Once again, I'm going to right-click, just like I did, and insert MIDI track. I'm just explaining it because I naturally do it so fast. So that's what I'm doing. Drag it out. Hotkey! Look at that. We have another one. And then I have another thing that's a drum rack. Remember the drum rack that I talked about where you can drag in samples to each individual pad?
Whoa.
I have another one.
No.
For hi-hats.
Whoa.
And so I've got all my favorite kicks, I've got all my favorite snares, and I've got all my favorite hi-hats. Dude, what is this?
Dude, that's crazy.
Wow. You know what I mean? Are you feeling that? Woo-hoo! Oh Oh, we're in it now. Holy shit. All right. The hi-hat, man, the tops, they really bring it together. They really do it.
And something I've noticed with Za's method too, is not just this time while we're teaching people. You'll straight up make a whole like drum entire expanse. You'll have melodies and you'll have all these other things going on. You'll make the whole drum set without like referencing the music at all, and then you'll just put it in. You're like, yes. I can't like my brain's like I'm referencing back and forth. I probably waste a lot of time because I'm like I have this idea, and then I'm like I forgot the idea because I was referencing. I have no idea what I was thinking anymore.
It's a situation to situation thing. You know, you do typically, it depends what you start with. I typically start with drums and write my track around my drums. Other times I'll start with my synths and my atmosphere, and I want it to have an open enough space that I write my drums very stagnated across that space. So I'm not just going in here and writing a flat beat because I want there to be that. It depends on what you're doing, you know?
The build.
It depends.
Depends on the build.
All right. Let's unmute the drums and see exactly what he's talking about. Kind of works. Kind of works.
What does this remind me of? This reminds me of I'm looking up the guy it reminds me of. Who does this remind me of? What is it? Keep going. Keep going.
Real quick. I'm gonna right click and I'm gonna insert an audio track. So what I did with the MIDI clips here is I inserted a kick and I inserted a snare and I inserted some hi-hats. If I search in kick and I have an audio track underneath this, that's one single kick. That's the same thing as what I drug into this drum rack here. But if I click and drag it here, then you can see visually that kick drawn out. And so I can do the same thing if I just do this. That is the exact same thing. It's a different sample. It's the same thing, it's just drawn out in audio.
You actually see the audio.
So you could see the audio waves. So if I go ahead and duplicate this, I could do the same thing with the snare and I could do it with the hi-hat. I personally find that doing my kick, my snare, and my tops, my hi-hats with MIDI, it just saves so much time because I can change these if I want different sounds without having to go through and switch all of these out, which you can do. This is the way I do it. Try it both ways. When I first started making music, I did it the audio way. I dragged every single kick in its spot. I dragged every single snare in its spot. It's doable. I'm just showing this because this is the way that I've adopted. Now, I want to get a little bit of flavor on this drum loop now that the fundamental of the loop is made. So what I did up here is I typed in 120 because that's the BPM that we're at, and perk, which would be percussion. So if I click on some of these samples, we got that. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff. Yeah, that was kind of nice. Let's go ahead, since this is an audio track, and drag this down into the audio track here. Let's go ahead and solo all of the drums. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So listen. I mean, that's just very simple. Listen to this by itself. I'm sorry, right here. It's just this kind of sporadic, but it adds so much to that whole drum beat because this is before. It's just the structure. That's all it is. It's the structure. And then you add that.
Got a nice panning feature too.
Yeah. Cool.
See, and this is the point where we're starting to get into structuring.
I'm only going to go slightly crazy here. I'm going to talk about this real fast because I just had ideas and I want to explain a different part of drums, but I have to do this so I can get to that point. So here we go. Are we ready? On the drum section, I am going to put...
Are we ready?
An auto filter. Auto filter. Boom. This is going to be my break section. If I take the auto filter and I show to the automation, I'm going to make sure it's at its top right there. This is the section I want to mess with. We will go over all of this, I swear. I just want to get the point across and I want to get to the next section. I'm going to dip it all the way down here. That means there's going to be no more drums except for the low end. And it's going to slowly build in like this. Oh, are you starting to hear it? It's going with the curve. Oh, yep. That's it. It's coming back. Okay. Yep. Yep. Okay, cool. Yep.
Yeah, do you have multiple of those on?
No. What the?
Click the stop button.
Shh.
There you go.
Just right here. That's not the part I wanted. That's what I wanted. Okay, cool. Alright, I just wanted to make a little build section. Build up drums. This is gonna be fucking fast. How's that? Hold on. Okay. All right. I got what I needed. So
Some flavor.
we got this, what I would consider to be a 4 on the floor, 120. You know, let's fucking party, okay?
Oh.
So what I might consider to be halftime, okay, let's talk about halftime, is we can stay in the same BPM. We can be in 120. Let's take out every other kick here. Let's worry about one section for right now. Let's take out that. So this is what I want. Boom, clap. Let me get rid of these for now. think that's what I want. Yeah, that's what I want. Okay, let's add the hi-hats. Sorry, there was a weird noise. My cat was eating food and it sounded fucking... So, let's get the hi-hats going. Really simple. Super simple. That's all I want. Boom. Duplication.
No breathing.
And then what about this? So if I Command E hotkey, what that did is it split the clip. So I'm just working with this section right here. Boom. Cool. I'm going to take that. You can see that warp is activated. If you see down here, you can see BPM. Wow, it's 120. That matches what we're in. If I click this ×2 button, it stretches it to 2 times the length. Woo!
That worked out
Slurky.
That worked out so much better than most times.
So this is regular. This is doubled, so it's stretching it out.
Yeah, that's pretty sick. That's pretty sick.
We were at this. We were at this. This is 120 beats per minute. This is 120. So is this. So being put in perspective, I don't know how this is going to sound. Whole different dynamic. It slows it down, that kind of puts it in slow motion, and I didn't even mess with the melody. This is just the drums. I could have slowed down the melody, I could have changed everything in the melody, but the melody is the same. It was just the drums that made the vibe of the track completely different there.
That's how you make a song.
I feel like we got something to work with here.
Genuinely.
Honestly.
All right, so everybody, remind us, episode 7, season 2. That's the name of this song. We're gonna come back to this, right? We're gonna come back to this.
We're gonna come back to this.
It's so interesting watching a song come together, because when you're on the outside looking in, it looks as though there's no frustration.
Is that the song title now?
On the outside looking in, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, all of you looking in, it really is when you're first getting into anything like this. I mean, Alec, just play the drums by themselves without that added sample that you had.
The slow or the fast?
Either the fast. So that by itself, you can feel extremely accomplished, and there's so many different facets into what make a song kind of come together. It's a combination of dynamics, the way that, because what he was doing with the auto filter right here, where it's blending in the different frequencies that it is allowing allowing the song to be heard. I can't word anymore. It's too freaking late. But the dynamics of a song have so much to do with it. The different layerings that you have inside of a song, the different tempos that you have inside of a song. It's so much to think about. And when you're first starting out, making a drum beat, making anything on a piano, that sound by itself, it doesn't feel very impressive. And I will say that from a personal perspective. When I lay down a drum set and I don't feel confident with it, sometimes I don't move on to the next step of just putting something else on top of it and being like, wow, like sometimes you just have a drum beat and piano, and that's some people's entire song. Like, you don't need an insane amount of knowledge or talent.
Less can be more.
Less is typically more, especially when you are talking about dynamics. I mean, the whole auto filter thing you did, when you all of a sudden bring out you take out the entire low end and you're blending it back in, that gets people to be like, oh my gosh, a change in a song. And it sounds really impressive when you start adding all these layers on top of it and you start educating yourself onto why does my song not sound like there's something full going on? Because in an hour and a half, we both went over the general fundamentals of an Ableton project, but I would say that I'd be proud to continue working on this. But it doesn't just happen overnight. You got to just kind of start. You just got to kind of start doing it.
You just got to start. You just got to keep doing it. You just got to keep doing it. That's the biggest thing.
Absolutely.
I just want to kind of wrap up what we talked about today, because episode 1 of Time Lab, which was last month in the third
would be
week,
episode 3 of season 2.
Episode 3, season 2 is what it would be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We went over the structure and the template that you can create to kind of know your way around Ableton. Today we talked about how we can get audio into here so we can hear music and start making music, and then some manipulation methods within the MIDI controls. And I just wanted to show again real quick the difference between audio and MIDI. So right here, I'll do it again just to show it. I right clicked on this right side here. I inserted an audio track. I right clicked that audio track and I grouped it. So now I have a group for audio. So what I did up here at the top left is I typed in 120 drum. So that's going to filter everything in my library that is 120 and has the word drum in it. So if I go ahead and select something here, we should start to hear 120 drums. So I'm going to go ahead and click and drag this audio right down here. And now if I want a 120 bass, I have all of my 120 basses. And once again, if I don't even have an audio track below it yet, I can still click and drag it in the empty spot and it'll automatically create one. And now, hold on, that's not in the group though. I had to click and drag it up into the group.
That was a pretty sick drum sample that you found, just randomly.
No, just click it
just
right
random
off the top.
sick drum sample, yeah.
So that's audio. You can just drag all of these predetermined audio clips that show you the waveform into their spot, and boom, you've got stuff. It's all unlimited.
syncopation's crazy with that one. I kind of like it. It feels very... Gosh, I can't remember songs right now.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty insane.
Just have fun with samples, man. Get into sound design eventually, but just have some, like, understand the structure, understand how Ableton works and how you can change stuff. Because, like, I'll get a little off topic here. This one sound here, okay. This is the original. I'm gonna fucking, in 5 minutes, absolutely demolish this. I'll save the original. Here's one thing I can do. Is go to beats, beats, drag this down forward, make it more plucky. I'm gonna drop it 12 steps, 1 octave. I'm gonna put Crusher on it. Shout out Jade Cicada. Drag this down. Let's just even, I'm gonna make this totally unknown what the fuck it is. Watch this. I'm just gonna show you. I'm not even gonna, I'm just autopiloting. And one more absolute cheat code.
Portal. Portal is a cheat code, absolutely. It's a pretty sick cheat code, but the panning effects on that were pretty crazy. I'm surprised it pans so well over Discord. I didn't think that it had stereo functionality over Discord. So that means that through YouTube, people can hear your panning, I would imagine.
I like it.
It's pretty nice.
There's so much stuff you can do, and we'll get into this. That was this. Like, that's a whole, like, atmospheric intro. I just wanted to go down that rabbit hole real quick. It's just absolutely insane once you familiarize yourself with sampling and the tools that are inside of Ableton. You can make almost anything sound like anything.
That might be the most daunting thing about making music, is that there is no right answer. And when you first start making it, it challenges you to start expressing kind of the music that you are more inclined towards. And the thing that I've found, I feel like I try to, even if I don't want to some weeks, I force myself to try to look into different avenues that I haven't in terms of music. So I stay fresh in what's happening out in the world instead of just like working on the stuff that I want to work on. Because for the most of my life, I didn't really have a specific music genre that I liked. I'm like, oh, those friends like that music, those friends like that music. And when I went down, I mean, I got my first soundboard when I was in 10th grade. I had no idea what music I personally liked because I just kind of listened to what everyone else listened to. And when you sit down with yourself and try to figure out what music you like, you start categorizing. It's like, okay, well, this is the music that I feel like people would like listening to. Oh, this is the music that I like making. There's kind of these different categories that I've come up with in my head. Because for a long time when I was making my own music, I'm like, this is music I like making, but it's not music I would listen to personally. Like I wouldn't find myself in the crowd, you know, which is such a weird. Like I'm not my own fan. Essentially, that's how I was making music, and I think I've calculated my own music in a way to where like I probably would find myself in my own crowd in multiple different avenues. So. It's kind of cool. Teaches you something about yourself.
It really does something.
Great job with drums, though. Great job.
Thank you. No, this was a fun project. I think we should definitely save this and head back over to it. And we are going to dive deeper into like everything that I just did for the past 5 minutes. There was a reverb that I put on here, and then 3 different audio effects and all sorts of stuff. So like we will get into sound design and manipulation. I was trying to keep on. That was completely off course. We did some drums today. We're going to get into that stuff. It's going to be a ton of fun. So if that was interesting and you want to continue to see how to manipulate sounds and how to structure yourself around Ableton, please tune in for our time lab series. This is what we be doing. This is it.
You want to listen to it one more time as the outro? Let's play it black one more time. Like you said, like, comment, and subscribe. We appreciate you guys being here. Hope you enjoyed learning with us today. Next time we got Lakai, the boy Lakai. I'm very curious what he's gonna be doing. But we appreciate everyone being here. I'm gonna jam out to the song before I actually close it out. This is a fun one.
Little pew 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 pew.
Pew, 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 pew. You gotta have your pew-pews, man. Cut time? Cut time. Thanks, everybody. Later.